Obviously, I don't want to die, so I'm not going to compete. My bucket list, if I die without doing this, I'll be angry in the afterlife. You guys are brave. Begin to, no, absolutely not. No, thank you, but I'll watch someone else do it. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, I am Yvette and I moved to the UK in 2019 and I am documenting my experiences of being assimilated to British culture. So I have a very exciting video today. I'm actually so excited. I don't know if everyone's gonna be into this, but I'm super into this. So I want to make a video about all of the weird traditions in the UK. So these are the things that kind of come up on the news once every now and then, and you're like, I can't believe there's a competition for that. And they're often in, like, it's quite a European thing. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just not an Australian thing because like it's too hot to do anything. So I'll jump into it and you'll see what I mean by like weird traditions. I'm not talking about like Christmas pudding or like crackers at Christmas. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about niche competitions that only exist in one place in the world that no one really knows how or when they came to be, and it's all a bit of a mystery, but it's crazy. So we'll jump into it. You'll see what I mean, and by all means, I'm gonna go through this list, and if there's any that I've missed, please tell me because I absolutely love this stuff. My first one, which I think might be the most famous, oh no, there's definitely one more famous one, but cheese rolling. So essentially, cheese rolling is in Gloucester in England. It's on Cooper's Hill. It happens in spring. It obviously didn't happen this year because, you know. So what happens is that the organizer, I guess, or the adjudicator gets a massive cheese wheel and throws it down a hill, and people race down this really steep hill, and they run down, they tumble down, they slide down, and the first person to get across the finish line wins and gets the cheese. And I think that's so weird and quirky and creative, and this is what I mean by like weird tradition. It's like happens once a year in the countryside and it is what it is. I always think, I see people when I watch the footage and they're like trying to run down the hill, and I'm like, why are you trying? I would honest to God just like wear my like most slippery pants or like my slippery trousers, what do you call them? And just like kind of make a toboggan out of my trousers and like slide down, or just tumble down, like roll down, and hope that the momentum gets me across the line before someone else. So historically it's supposed to be part of a pagan ritual, which I honestly think the most fun rituals all seem to be pagan, but they used to throw bundles of twigs down a hill, and then that would signify a new year or something, and that's why it was in spring, I guess, because it was like the end of the winter and it was starting to get hot again. So it's on the spring bank holiday. I'm gonna make it my bucket list to go to this at least once in my life, just to spectate. Obviously, I don't want to die, so I'm not gonna compete, but 100% other big asterisks on this video. If anyone who's seen this has actually competed and or seen this, do tell me in the comments below if you've ever done it, what it's like, and yeah, just tell me. I just want to know more. When I was doing some research, I actually found they had a quote from the Sydney Morning Herald, so I'm going to read it to you, so bear with. Only because it's Sydney Morning Herald and it's like my heritage, so I'm going to read it to you. It says, Cooper's Hill cheese rolling has been summarised by previous participants as 20 young men chasing a ball of cheese, 20 young men chasing a cheese off a cliff and then tumbling 200 yards to the bottom, where they are scrapped up by paramedics and packed off to the hospital, which sums it up, doesn't it? It's so funny. So 100% cheese rolling, I'm into it. Gloucester, I'm coming for you. It's been an official event since 1986. That's when they started like keeping track of it, but it's obviously been going on for many long years before that. Probably the most famous tradition, but I wanted to put it in because it is kind of a very unique tradition to England, is Guy Fawkes bonfire night. Now I have actually done a celebration for this, so I actually made a video for that, so you can check it out if you would like to see more information on it. But essentially it is celebrating there was a plot to blow up Parliament by Guy Fawkes. His plot was failed. What do you call it? Foiled. His plot was foiled, and you celebrate that he didn't blow up Parliament, and that's Guy Fawkes night. And so they celebrate by making big bonfires, and there's parades, and there's festivals, and there's like a carnival with like rides and food, and then at the end of the night they set off all these fireworks because the bonfire night was like a gunpowder plot thing. So very famous, honestly pretty well known. That's not as like crazy and quirky, but I really felt it would be missing, this video would be missing something if I didn't at least mention this very big holiday that is UK centric only. But yeah, so bonfire night, I actually really like bonfire night. I think it might be one of my favorite holidays in the UK because it's just so chill. Like it's, you can celebrate if you're not, there's no expectation. You know, Christmas there's a lot of expectation and pressure, but you know, bonfire night, it's like just setting off fireworks. It's very chill, I'm into it. You go out, you can look at the big bonfire, see some fireworks, eat some junk food at a market. Excellent. Good night out. Now this next one is quite famous, once again, kind of like bonfire night. However, I haven't done it and I really want to, so I'm well looking forward to any tips and advice you have. So it's Hogmanay, probably saying it wrong. Basically it's New Year's Eve in Scotland. The word Hogmanay is the Scottish word for New Year's Eve, so that's why it's called Hogmanay. It seems so fun. So it is a 3-day event. It involves parades, torch lighting, torch parades. There's carnivals, food, family events, music, dancing, there's all sorts of stuff. There's even like a costume party where like everyone dresses in a costume and goes through a parade and then jumps in the water. And then there's also, yeah, there's just, it looks so fun. If you don't know, fun fact, my sister-in-law, so Daniel's sister, actually lives in Scotland and she's married to a Scotsman. I was supposed to go back to Australia this year for Christmas and I was gonna film some stuff and be like, check out me back in my homeland, but not happening because we all can figure out why I'm not going home. So we thought we might go up to Scotland and see Daniel's sister, and then I get to do Hogmanay and that's gonna be so fun. Hopefully it's not cancelled, but we'll see what happens, fingers crossed. But yeah, I'm pretty keen for that. So yeah, Hogmanay, 100% haven't done it. Probably the #1 thing on this list that I'm like gonna do. Like it is 100% my bucket list. If I die without doing this, I'll be angry in the afterlife. My next one, back to being a bit unique and quirky and not as well known, is wife carrying. Now this is a race, happens down in Dorking, down in Surrey I think Dorking is, and it is what it says. It's a race with men carrying their wives, and they race down and the first person to win gets a prize of whatever. One thing I've noticed with all these races is it always happens in like really wet times, so the race is like particularly like slippery and hard, which is like so dangerous. I'm just imagining if Daniel was carrying me and say I'm like, you know, fireman style, and he's running, and then say he slips over and it's just like my face into the ground. Like I'd love to do it, and maybe I will one time. Well, I don't really have to do anything, it's really more Daniel's thing, but like he's doing more effort, I'm just there for the fun. But I definitely need like safety equipment because I'm like, I don't want to go down. So wife carrying. So wife carrying has been going on for many years. It's in Dorking, like I said, so it's Surrey. And one of the funny things I found when I was researching this was that the wife doesn't have to be your own, as long as it's someone's wife, and that she has to be over 17, obviously, and she has to weigh at least 49 kilos, and if she doesn't, they add rucksacks to make her way heavier, which I thought was very funny. But yeah, so they also give, if you come last place, you get a pot noodle, and then if you're carrying the heaviest wife, which I don't love that they're measuring them, but you get sausages, I think it was, because like obviously you need to use your strength because you're the person you're carrying is a bit heavier. And yeah, hilarious. I really want to see that. That one is closer to me than say Gloucester, so, and also definitely Scotland, so we'll definitely be putting that on the list once these fun events start happening again, but I'm pretty keen. So my next one is a Welsh tradition. It is called Bog Snorkeling, which I think I may have mentioned here before. I hate the word bog. It's like, and it means toilet, and they're actually talking about an actual bog, so it's even worse. So bog snorkeling sounds weird, and it is. So basically you have to have a snorkel and goggles and a fins, and you can't use like your arms, basically, like you can't use a stroke, and you get in the bog, which is like quite basically a narrow kind of like river but much smaller, and you have to use your flippers to go, and it's based off the fastest time, and I'll put the name of it on the screen because I can't pronounce it because it's in Welsh. I'm sorry, Wales, you're making life hard for me. But yes, so too funny. Once again, all of these competitions seem to be in like the winter months when it's like super cold. I'm thinking maybe it's like that period between like January to like April where the weather's just awful and people are bored. So they're like, you know what? Let's go for a bit of a bog snorkel. Let's go carry my wife and see how fast I can run. Let's go chase some cheese down a hill. But bog snorkeling has been around since 1976, so obviously the Welsh are well into it. I wanted to put an honourable mention for gurning competitions. Gurning is like pulling a face, and apparently it's like better if you have like no teeth or anything, because like you can really like distort your face. I'm not good at it, but they have gurning competitions up in Newcastle, which makes so much sense because that seems like such a Newcastle thing. It's like who can pull the craziest face, basically. There is also Burns Night, not to be confused with Guy Fawkes Night. Burns Night is for Robert Burns, the Scottish poet. So they celebrate by getting more fire, as always they love fire, and some haggis, and celebrating the poet. So that is also a fun one, bit of a parade, like always. Fire and parades seems to be a common theme. And then there's also one that I feel like I cringed when I heard it, is Nettle Eating competition. Like, you guys are brave. So the Nettle Eating competition is always held in the Bottle Inn in Dorset, and it's been going on for years. It was firstly part of a beer festival, and then they kind of incorporated the nettle eating into it. So I'm going to read you the rules because they sound crazy. Competitors are served 2-foot long stalks of stinging nettles from which they are plucked, and they eat the leaves. After an hour, the bare stalks are measured, and the winner is the competitor with the greatest accumulated length of nettles. This contest begins in the late 80s with two farmers argued who had the longest stinging nettles in their field, and then it evolved into the World Nettle Eating Championships. And people come from as far as Canada and Australia, apparently. So I have mentioned how everything in Australia tries to hurt you and or kill you, and I stand by that. And I was frolicking around in the English countryside, being like, nothing can hurt me, because I was so used to pain, and then I was in like a false sense of security. And then I came across a stinging nettle, and they are awful. I like brushed my hand against them, and my hand was like stinging for like days. I'm like, I don't know how these people are eating them. Like, what's it like on the other end? I cannot begin to, no, absolutely not. No, thank you. But I'll watch someone else do it. Pretty much all of these. So those are some of the crazy traditions that I've managed to find in the UK. Clearly lockdown's going well for me. I'm like cheese rolling. But I'm definitely gonna try and get to as many as I can. Tell me if you'd be interested in seeing that. Like, I could maybe film some of it if I do end up going eventually. But do tell me in the comments below if there's any others that you know about, because this is my jam. I'm so into it. I'm like so keen. I love a weird festival. I actually want to go. I was going to go this year, obviously didn't happen. I wanted to go down to Torquay because they have an Agatha Christie festival, and I love Agatha Christie. So, should have put her on my like best list. Anyways, neither here nor there. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Remember to tell me in the comments any other festivals I need to know about. And if you liked it, you can hit subscribe, and that'd help me and the algorithm, and I can see you next time, which is the best case scenario. So, hopefully, I'll see you next time.